To start with, let me answer one simple question. That is, what is competitive programming, right? So a bunch of people are asking, what is competitive programming? See, the idea is that when you are learning to become a software developer, right? Like the idea is that you want to eventually become a software developer. You want to work for great companies. You want to work for good product companies. So what happens is that you are expected to most of anything, like more than anything else, you are supposed to be really good in data structures and algorithms, right? That is something that you really need to be good at. So if you need to be really good at data structure and algorithms, what is actually required in that sense is that given any problem, you are able to think of solutions, and not just solutions, you are able to think of, hey, how efficient this solution is, how fast this solution is. So competitive programming is all about writing accurate code which works, and along with that, you also need to write code which is really fast, right? So you need to write efficient and accurate code. So competitive programming is all about, so there are a bunch of websites where you go, you start practicing, and there are a lot of competitions which happens. By competitive, it basically means that there'll be a ranking system. You will get some rank on basis of how you're performing compared to others. And it's a great way to keep yourself motivated once you know that there is a ranking system, right? You always have a benchmark to improve yourself on. If you get a rank of 1,000, you now know that you need to improve that to a certain level. If you get to some certain level, then now you know that you can improve further, right? So that's basically what you need to do. And competitive programming is really, really helpful in helping you prepare for data structures and algorithms and advanced level of data structure algorithms. So if you get really good in competitive programming in general, the idea is that you will be able to do really well in most of the interviews of all these companies, right? So it becomes so much easier for you. Okay. So what is the preparation strategy for a third year non-CS student? So Purva is asking, what is the strategy for a third year non-CS student? So I'm assuming you mean the preparation for getting a great job, right? See, so if you want to get a great job and you're a non-CS student, then you really need to show in your resume, your profile need to speak up why you should be hired, right? It need to show up that, hey, I am not in CS, but I'm really excited about CS, and this is what all I have done to prove that I'm actually really, really good in CS, right? So you can either work on really amazing projects, or you can do really well in competitive programming to show, to bring that extra factor, the X factor in your resume, looking at which any recruiter would say, hey, this looks like a great candidate and we should actually talk to these, right? So that's what you need to ensure that you're really good at, and that's what something that you need to do. Okay. So Piyush is asking, I want to do competitive programming as well as web development. Which should I do first? Okay. So Piyush, basically, see, it's a question that you will have to answer. It kind of depends upon what really motivates you, what really you enjoy. Because if you realize once you join a job, most of the time you will be doing web development, Android application development, or some kind of development once you join a job, right? But to get that job, you need to be really good in data structure and algorithms. A lot of people focus on competitive programming, data structure algorithms, because that's how you're going to get that great job. And honestly, you become really smart and your programming skills are good enough that you will be able to do well once you join the job as well. But if you actually want to understand what is required to be a great software developer, what would be required from you once you join a job, then it makes a lot of sense for you to actually learn web development as well. If you ask me which one to do first, I would say just go ahead, learn web development, because web development would require you a lot of practice. It will require you to work on a bunch of projects. So you can start first with that. Okay. So Atharv Jairath is asking, sir, is CP important even if I'm doing data science and machine learning? So guys, most of the time, the answer to all these questions is it depends. It depends upon you, right? If you're absolutely clear, web development is something that you really enjoy, that's the kind of job that you are looking for, doing CP might not be that important, right? If you're absolutely clear, hey, data science is something that I want to focus on, that's what I want to build my career in, it's much more productive for you to stay focused on that, work on great projects, do a lot of internships, right? That's going to be far better use of your time than doing CT. That being said, generally, my recommendation is, hey, first of all, before you do anything else, you need to get really good in data structure algorithms. Once you do that, try to spend some time doing CP, try to spend some time doing competitive programming day by day, right? Spend maybe, let's say, an hour a day doing a couple of problems every day, right? Like just try to spend some time doing competitive programming so that your data structure skills basically stay really sharp. Because whenever you apply for any kind of job, you will be expected to know data structure algorithms. You don't have to be like a really hardcore competitive programmer if you are very clear this is the kind of job I'm looking for. But if you keep practicing your data structure algorithms, either through competitive programming or any other mean, right, that'll be good enough. Okay, that'll be good enough. So a bunch of people are asking, is Python a good choice for doing competitive programming? See, guys, what happens is Python. So as I said, right, competitive programming is all about being fast, being accurate, but being fast as well. So Python in itself is slower than C++ and Java. Java is at least slower than C++, and Python is slower than Java as well. So what generally happens is people tend to feel that, hey, if I do it in Python, it's going to be slow and I'm going to be at a loss compared to other people. But generally, most of the websites, what they will do is they will give different kind of time limits for C++, Java, Python, and other languages. That basically means they understand C++ is fast. So if something takes 1 second in C++, it might take 1.5 seconds in Java. It might take 3 seconds in Python. So they will accordingly provide you time limit. Generally, it should not be a problem. That being said, a lot more people use C++ or Java as part of their competitive programming language. So if you use one of these, then you will have a far stronger community support. There'll be a lot more people who will be doing things in C++, Java. You'll be able to get better support. You'll be able to get better, get into discussions, which will be very fruitful. You'll be able to do all of that, right? So that becomes very important. So Priyanshu is asking, is data structure important for placements? Absolutely. That's the single most important thing that you need to learn for your placements. And what languages are required for placement? No bar. Most of the companies will be absolutely okay if you choose any language. If you ask me, I'll generally say, hey, pick C++, Java, just because they are harder compared to other languages. So if you learn one of these, it's easier to shift to anything else. But that's a very small reason. Eventually, for example, if you tell me that, hey, I want to be good in data science, and that's what I want to focus on, I'm going to tell you, hey, go ahead and do Python, because you will be doing most of your work in Python, right? So companies don't care about the language, they care about your skills. They care about your concepts. Are you good in data structure concepts? If you are good in that, whatever language you want to use, that's absolutely okay. That's not a problem, right? That's not a problem. Okay. Okay, perfect. So Shiv Kumar is asking, can a master student start competitive programming? Absolutely, man. Like there is no age bar on being a software developer. There is no age bar on being a competitive programmer. It's not a government job which has an age limit. So you can do whatever you want to do, right? Like there is nothing stopping you. And to be honest, the way you will be hired is exactly same the way bachelor people are hired as well, right? Like the way the B.Tech people are hired as well. So it doesn't really matter that you are doing masters, they are doing B.Tech. The hiring criteria is generally very, very similar. So if it is important for them to know competitive programming, it's important for you as well, right? Ankush is asking how to stay motivated while learning DS and Algo. I think the best way to stay motivated during DS and Algo is making sure that you understand the concept really well, not taking shortcuts. Once you feel that, hey, this is not very clear, don't try to solve problems. First, make sure that that concept is very, very clear to you. Because the frustration comes when you're trying to solve a problem and you're not able to solve it, even after trying for multiple hours. That's when the biggest problem is. So what you really need to do is, you need to, first of all, understand the concept really well. And once you understand the concept really well, then you need to basically jump into problems. Okay, that's the best way to do it. Okay. So how somebody's asking, how is competitive programming different from normal programming? What is normal programming? Right? There is nothing normal programming. So if I say, see, the first thing you need to start with is data structure algorithms. Competitive programming is generally a little advanced version of data structure algorithms. You will have a lot of other data structure, advanced data structures, which you would not have done as part of a normal data structures preparation if you go through, right? For example, when you do competitive programming, you will learn about segment trees, Fenwick trees, suffix trees, and all these different concepts, right? You'll have to learn about game theory, number theory, like all of these things you will have to learn while you're doing competitive programming. And like anything else, you do not have to go through all these before you start competitive programming. What you can do is you can start competitive programming once you have gone through data structure algorithms, right? If you feel the basic data structure algorithm is clear, then you can jump into competitive programming. You will find problems that you are not able to solve. Then you read the concepts that are required to solve those problems. So that ways you will keep filling the gaps that you will have in your skill set while you start competitive programming. But absolutely, you need to make sure that your first data structure algorithm skills are really, really good, right? Without that, it will be really hard. Sorry. Okay. So Naveen is saying, I give up when I see time limit exceed. What should I do? Naveen, you should not give up. That's what you need to do. You need to, first of all, give it a lot more time. I'm telling you, it generally requires, like, unless you spend few hours into one problem, do not give up, right? Keep trying and keep trying hard, because what will happen is you might not reach the eventual solution, but you would have tried 5-10 ways in which you would know, hey, this solution took me, this idea took me this far, this idea took me this far, this idea took me this far. That'll be very, very important mental knowledge that you will be collecting, which is going to really help you in a lot of other problems, right? So don't worry about that. And eventually you will not be able to solve all the problems, right? That's not the agenda. The agenda is to keep improving. For example, on code forces, you will have, like, any kind of challenge will have like a 5 questions, right? So most of the times you'll be able to do the first one, but when, as you keep practicing, you will start solving the second one as well. As you keep practicing, you'll start solving the third one as well. And as you keep practicing reading the tutorials, you will be able to eventually reach the fourth one as well, right? And if you get really good, you might have a shot at the fifth one as well. But the idea is that as you keep practicing, you will keep getting better. Okay. Shom is asking, are 2 months enough to master CP? 2 months are not enough to master anything, man. Like, you require a lot more time, lot more effort to basically master anything. But it's a good enough time for you to get started. If your data structure algorithm good, data structure algorithm skills are good, then you can definitely start CP. And 2 months you will start seeing some output getting your way. But eventually, to complete it, it's going to take a little more time. So Vishal is asking how to start competitive programming from scratch. First of all, ensure that your DS algo skills are amazing, right? Once you have gone through that, then I would say you can start with HackerRank. It's relatively easy to start with. Then I really think Codeforce is the right way to basically build your skill set, because the level of difficulty is, like, you have variety of questions, right? So you would, like, once you start feeling that initially you'll be able to solve only one, but eventually you will be able to solve two, then three. So you will kind of know that, hey, your level is improving. So that really helps. That really helps. So Himanshu is asking, does branch of B.Tech matters for SDE jobs? So guys, it kind of depends, right? It kind of depends upon whether the branch matters or not. It depends on the company. Most of the good companies don't really care about your branch. If they come to your campus, some of them will only interview CS IT guys, but that's okay. Most of them will be open to you applying off campus, and you need to clear a test. You clear a test, you get the interviews, right? That's what you need to do. So it's not that important. Like, if you can find a way to get the interview, your branch will not matter. But it might take some extra effort for you to get the interview. So Vishal is asking, overall kitna time lagega if I spend 3-4 hours daily? So Vishal, you need to understand, right? Like, all these kind of skill sets, they are very person dependent. Somebody, for them, like 3-4 hours a day, they might get really good in month and a half. Some people will take 3-4 months, 5 months, right? So it just depends upon the current skill set that you have and how fast learner you are, right? Okay. So Ria is asking, is it necessary to learn competitive level DSA for getting into a good company? Ria, that's a really, really good question. So the answer is, it matters in few companies. There are very few companies who will ask you questions of level which are competitive programming level. Most of the companies are going to focus on comparatively basic data structures, but all sort of problems on those basic data structures, right? Like basic data structures, basic algorithms, they're going to focus on that. Just to give you an example, I think Google, DirectEye, Coordination, these are a few examples where competitive programming kind of matters. For example, Amazon, Microsoft, it doesn't really matter that much. What they really need to focus on is basic data structures and algorithms. That being said, if you're really good in competitive programming, generally you will do really well in basic data structures as well. But there are very few companies who focus on problems of level of CP level. Okay. So Rajiv is asking, I don't have dev knowledge. Will CP alone get me a job? So guys, see, there are three type of companies. One is service-based companies who don't really check your programming skills or general skills as much, right? Like they tend to focus on your aptitude more. Some of them will check basic programming skills, right? So these are service-based companies. I'm not talking about that. Now there are two other set of companies, product-based companies. Within product-based companies, there are large MNCs or big companies, right? They tend to focus on your data structure algorithm skills. So they will hire you on basis of that. They will not hire you on basis of dev skills. They will generally hire you on the basis of your data structure algorithm skills. Having some projects will be helpful because then a couple of your interviews will be on your projects, and if you have done your projects well, it's very likely your interviews will go well as well, right? So those couple of interviews, but they will focus on data structure algorithms a lot. In most of the startups, they are more worried about your dev skills, right? Are you a good developer or not? Because in startups, they expect you to join and start being productive day one, right? They want you to start working on development day one. So they are looking for your development skills more than your data structure algorithm skills. It kind of depends upon what kind of company you're targeting. That will kind of decide whether development projects are important. Projects are always important, but development skills are important or not. So Shriram is saying, please use English in CP course. I don't know Hindi. Shriram, really sorry for the inconvenience that you have right now. But for the summer batches starting in May, will have English as an option in CP as well, right? So we already have a course in, so the Python course is in English, the foundation course in Java, we have launched in English recently. We will be launching the competitive programming course in English starting 1st May, right? So you can definitely join for that. Okay. Perfect. Let me pick the next question. So Krishna is asking, what are the prerequisites for competitive programming? See, the basic prerequisite is being good in data structure algorithms. If you are good in data structure algorithms, you can start taking part in the competitions, and you will realize, hey, there are a few things that you don't know, right? You'll realize there are algorithms that you don't know. You'll realize there are data structures you don't know, right? And at that time, you will have to study about them and go ahead and work on them. So just in a continuation of this question, the next question is from Vineet. Vineet is asking, how is the Coding Ninjas competitive programming course? The Coding Ninjas competitive programming course also assumes that you are already good in data structure algorithms. The basic foundation is there. And we build on top of that. We build on top of that by going through like all kind of different data structures that are required, right? Fenwick trees, segment trees, then basically number theory, game theory, like whatever are required, all these concepts which are required from competitive programming perspective, we'll go through all those kind of topics. We'll practice a lot of problems. We'll pick up problems from different platforms. We will solve all of them, right? So basically, just the idea is to make you practice so much that by the end you feel so much more comfortable while you take part in these competitions. That's the whole point of the course that we have. Okay. What else? This is a great question. This question is coming from Ishita. Ishita is saying, how much time should I invest in learning coding during the 4 years of my engineering? Should I focus on it for all 4 years? So Ishita, I'll actually split this into two parts, right? So first of all, on programming, so programming, non-programming, and within programming, what all you should do, right? So you have 4 years, what all you should do. First of all, these 4 years, the best utilization of these 4 years will be if you can figure out, hey, this is what I enjoy and this is what I want to do as in my career. If you can figure that out, that'll be the best use of these 4 years. So for example, if very early on you realize, hey, programming is what I want to do, I want to be a software developer, amazing, right? That's an amazing thing that you have achieved if you are very, very clear on that. If you are clear on that, then we need to take a path. The path is, first of all, we need to get really good in data structure algorithms. Once you have that, now you have multiple options. My general first recommendation to everybody is make sure you learn web development. Because learning web development basically means that you know how to build websites. You know, if you have an idea today, you can launch it and like you can make it reach as many people as you want, right? You can have a product which is used by people. If you, for example, let's say tomorrow you want to learn machine learning, then you will be able to use those machine learning projects and put them on a website and make it available to people, right? So it's very important that you know web dev as a skill. If you are very, very clear early on that programming is what you want to do. So data structure algorithms, web development. I think CP is helpful if you keep it on the, like you spend few hours a day or maybe like few hours a week and you keep practicing it because it helps you improve your data structure algorithm skills. But I think that cannot be the only thing that you should do for 4 years. You should absolutely focus on development skills, try to get that as much as possible. Try to do as many internships as possible. Actually, internships are the best way to figure out what is the right career path. So if you're not sure that you want to do programming, what you should do is you should do internships in other areas as well, right? Try to do something in analytics, try to do something in marketing. You can try out all these kind of internships, which will really help you figure out what is the right thing for you, what is the right place for you, right? And once you have clarity on that, it becomes much easier to excel in it. Most of the time people suffer in excelling at skill because they keep questioning themselves. यार ये मुझे करना भी है या नहीं करना? Should I do something else? Should I try out that as well? Hey, while I'm trying this project, I'm done with 50%. Should I try now this new project? Right? Like this is what basically spoils most of the learning. You need to complete what you are doing and then move to the next thing. That's what you need to do. Okay, I don't know why Kishan is typing repeatedly data science needs CP. Data science doesn't need CP, man. Like, who said data science needs CP? See, all of these things require you to be good in data structure algorithms, not necessarily competitive. They just want you to be good in data structure algorithms. So Dipali is asking how to get internship at Amazon. So Dipali, the best way is if Amazon visits your college. If Amazon visits your college, apply for that, and through that you can get an internship at Amazon. What to prepare for these interviews? You need to prepare data structure algorithms, not necessarily CP level. So if you practice the kind of questions we have in our foundation courses, if you go to our public section, right, if there is a codes and option on our website, if you go there, practice section in our website, you'll find a bunch of questions. These are the level of questions that Amazon will be looking for, right? So that's something that you can do. In case Amazon is not coming to your campus, the best way is to find people who are working at Amazon who would be ready to refer you. That's what you need to do to basically do this. Vishal is asking, is there a refund policy for Coding Ninjas courses? Actually, there is. So we have a refund policy. You will be able to find it on the website. I don't remember exactly, so I don't want to commit anything here. But there is a refund policy, I think, for a week or so after the batch starts. So you can basically check out on the website. Okay. So Yash is saying that, sir, I'm struggling in DP. Any tips? So Yash, I think like the best way to practice any of this is to start small, right? If you start with 1D DP, then you move on to 2D DP, like things becomes more intuitive. Like you need to practice a lot to gain that confidence. Most of the time it's about the confidence, whether you have that confidence to work upon it or not, right? So please do that. Like there is no shortcut for me to tell you that this is what you need to do. If you're an ex-student, please go through the DP lectures again. I'm telling you, if you just follow them one by one, you will be able to do DP really well. Shivam is asking, does being good in CP help in getting selected in masters? Should I really go for masters if I am only good in CP? Two very different questions, Shivam. First of all, being good in CP, I don't think it's going to help you in getting selected in masters. Okay, so that's first thing. Should I go for masters if I'm only good in CP? Dekho, eventually only good in CP is not going to get you a job as well, right? Like, so it might get you a job, but it's not going to let you keep that job, because in the job you will be required to do development and not just CP. So whether you need to go for masters or not, that need to be answered by other different criteria. What kind of job profile that you want, right? All those things basically will define whether you should do a masters or not. Okay. And if any of you really love CP, looking for a job, want to continue doing CP, please apply at Coding Ninjas, because we need people who are really good in competitive programming, who are ready to mentor other people to get really good in competitive programming, right? We are looking for such people. And if that's what you want to do, I think we might be one of the very few places where we actually need people who are really good in competitive programming, and we want them to continue doing competitive programming. So if you really want to apply, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to consider you for a job at Coding Ninjas. Okay. So Pallavi is asking how to manage competitive programming and development parallelly. So Pallavi, see, I'm telling you, like, for me, competitive programming has to be like, you should spend fix few hours and spend that. Rest of the time, put your focus on dev, right? That's, I think, what you need to do. Okay. Aman is saying, how do I know I'm good enough at data structure algorithms to start competitive programming? Feel आएगी, ठीक है, अंदर से feel आएगी कि I think I'm good enough. I think I understand data structures. I think I'm able to solve these problems. Once you get that feel, then you can start competitive programming. And honestly, another answer is, you're unsure. That's okay. Try it out, right? Like, once you try it out, you will realize, hey, this is the kind of places I'm getting stuck at. I feel I need to practice more on data structures. You'll get that feeling and you will be able to do that accordingly. Okay. So Jatin is saying, are 5 months sufficient to really master CP? Jatin, I answered this earlier as well. I think 5 months is a decently long enough period. Our course also lasts for around 2 to 3 months. So 5 months should be enough. But again, it just depends upon how much effort you put in during those 5 months. Right? If you don't do anything in those 5 months, you will not master CP. But if you dedicatedly give 5 months, I think that should be good enough. So Hari, I already answered this. Hari is asking, do we need to know any development skill to get placed if we are really strong in DSA? So as I said, right, like, there are product companies, large product companies, they tend to focus more on DSA. If you have projects, that's great. If you have development skills and you're able to build projects, that's great. But there are companies like Coding Ninjas, which really wants you to have good dev skills for you to apply and get a job, right? And on my last comment, anybody wants to get a job and wants to do CP, I'm just, my email ID is ankush@codingninjas.in. So feel free to reach there. Okay. So guys, okay, let me just stop for a minute and let's try to focus on, again, what you should do in those 4 years. I think that's a very important question for you guys to know an answer to. 4 years, what all should I do? Right? As I said, you need to get clarity on what you want to achieve. For example, if you have clarity, you want to do programming, on day one, start your work. Don't wait for data structure course to come in college. Don't do any of that, right? Just start with data structure algorithms, start learning that. I'm telling you, finally, when it comes in college, you will realize that the level at which it happens in college might not be same as what is required from you, right? So वो जब आएगा, that's okay, but till then you should try to practice. You should try to build that skill set yourself. Once you have that, then start some development. The earlier you start development, the more internships you will be able to do. Do not wait for third year to do an internship. Ideally, you should do an internship after your first year itself. If you have the right skill set, by then do that, right? If you're not sure about whether programming is the right thing for you and you don't have skill set by end of first year, please do a marketing job, do a operations job, do some kind of an internship which basically teaches you something. The more you work with people in industry, the more maturity you will gain, the more clarity you will gain in what you need to do. and how you need to proceed, right? So please do that. So you definitely need to spend a lot of time outside your academic requirements and learn a lot of skills. You definitely need to do that. Okay. Shubham is saying many companies only want B.Tech BE candidates like Amazon or Nagaro. Can you tell me how MCA candidates can apply in that company as a fresher using competitive programming? Shubham, see, most of these companies, right? You need to do two things to get a job: get an interview, clear the interview, right? Clearing the interview. If you get the interview, clearing the interview, it doesn't matter whether you have a B.Tech degree or an MCA degree. It will not matter. But to get that interview, that's the hard part. If the company is not coming to your campus for all those things, like it might be hard for you to get the interview. You need to be very, very resourceful there. You need to apply to the online portals that these companies have. You need to give online tests. You need to reach out to people. If you build a strong profile in CP, just ping people who are working in Amazon and tell them, hey, I have this rating on this particular platform. I'm telling you, they'll be more than happy to refer you. Right? They'll be more than happy to refer you. So if you have that strong profile, just learn how to sell that. Just learn how to reach out to people who are working within the company and who will be able to refer you. Please do that. Shrinu is saying, what if I stick with only competitive programming without learning any technologies up to second year? Sure, you can do that. You can stick to competitive programming for 4 years as well. The idea is that the best use of your time? I am saying it's not the best use of your time. Right? Can you do it? You can definitely do it. You can. So will you get a job? I think you will get a job as well. So that's absolutely okay. But if you do development, I think you will learn a lot more and your perspective towards software engineering will be very different. Right? A lot of companies, like you will get to work with startups as internships, right? So I understand eventually people will have preference in terms of the kind of companies they want to go to, but during it, if you do multiple internships with different kind of companies, you get to know the culture of different companies, right? Like you will make a much more smarter decision on which company you want to join once you reach that stage. Okay. Anand, Anand is saying, does backend engineer post require more DS and algo concepts? I think all the SD jobs require DS and algo concepts, right? So just you cannot bypass that. That's something that you will have to do. You cannot bypass that. So Prakhar is saying, can I tell about my journey, how it went for me? To be honest, I did not have a lot of idea on how to get a great job, how to prepare for competitive. There was not a trend of competitive programming back in 2008 when I graduated from IT Delhi. So we used to work a lot more on academic projects, a lot of interesting projects happening within the college, and along with that, we like DS and algorithm skills. We kept practicing in those 4 years because we knew these are important once we are sitting for companies, when we are sitting for placements, right? So the first good development experience I had was once I joined the job. But then when I went for masters, that was very, very different. During my masters, I learned Ruby on Rails, so I was doing web development. I learned iOS development, so I was doing iPhone application development. I learned machine learning, so I was building projects in machine learning, right? So I was doing everything and anything that was development related. I was not doing any CP. I was not practicing a lot of data structure algorithms, although I knew that when I apply for jobs, again, that will be important. But I had a confidence that, yeah, data structure algorithms I am decently good at. Now let's try to build all this skill set that's going to help me in the company, as well as if I want to build my own project, that's going to really help me. And that has been really, really important, right? Like because I know all this kind of skill set, I was confident that, hey, I can start something by myself. I can build a project by myself. I can launch something by myself. That was only possible because I knew all these things. I was confident that, hey, I can do mobile application development, I can build websites as well, and I understand machine learning as well. It felt like I'm at a great place where I can actually start a project and launch it, and gave me the confidence of actually doing something on my own. Right, so that's very important. Like once you have that confidence, you can do a lot of different things. Best way to get a master's. I don't know what do you mean by that. Best way to get a master's. Join a master's program. You'll get a master's degree. But how to get into a good master's program? If you want to apply to US, then that's a different story. If you want to apply in India, that's a different story. So a little more detailed. I don't think it's the right topic for this. So Harsh is asking, is CNCP course enough? So first of all, CNCP course will be enough. The first requirement is you're good in data algorithm. So if you've already done a data algorithm course with us, the CP course should be absolutely good enough. But the course in itself is nothing, right? Like unless you practice along with the course. So whatever work is assigned to you, please complete all of that work. I think you'll be in a very good shape by end of it. Okay. So Harjot is saying, I'm already in good product company, but want to switch to Google or Microsoft core development. So bit rusty on Algo and data. What should be my part to achieve that? Harjot, I'm again telling you, right? Like data algorithm is the answer. It kind of depends upon how many years of experience you have. But anything less than 3 years of experience, they are going to mostly focus on data algorithms again. That's what they are going to focus on. Okay. Suchi is saying, I'm not comfortable with CPP, but I want to register for competitive programming course. I'm confident with Java. What should I do? Suchi, see guys, switching a language should not be, you should not be scared of that. If you're really good in Java, switching to C++ should be very, very easy. Should not take a lot of time for you. Right? So please do not hesitate in these kind of things. If you will spend few hours, I am telling you, you will become good in CPP. So please don't restrict yourself. Don't be scared in switching a language. That should be the last thing that you should be worried about. In my, like, I've only worked for 2.5, 3 years in industry, other than whatever I've been doing at Coding Ninjas and before that, right? And I have worked in C++, Java, PHP, Perl, Objective-C in those 2.5, 3 years in industry, in Facebook and Amazon. So you will have to work on different languages. That's never going to be a good excuse for you not to do something. So you definitely need to, like, if CPP is the answer, then you learn CPP, right? That's what you need to do. So someone is asking, having 2.5 years of experience in service-based company and want to shift to product-based company, what path can I take? Again, see, there are two paths. One is product-based companies, you focus on DS Algo, you apply to these big MNCs, right? You can try to, hopefully you crack that. Another path is you become really good in web development, you get really good in Android application development, some kind of development, and you apply to startups. Guys, I'm telling you, startups are very, very underrated. Right, once you join a startup, the kind of learning you will have, the amount of learning you will have is going to be absolutely crazy. The growth and maturity you will gain in a startup compared to a big company will be very, very different. It will be very different scale. So that's why I keep telling people, during your college, do internship at a startup, and if possible, do an internship at a big company as well, and you will realize the amount of learning you will have at a startup will be far, far more, right? So please do that. Adarsh is saying, I don't have a job in fourth year. What should I do? Keep practicing programming and keep applying. Don't worry about it. You still have a lot of time. So don't worry about it. Abhishek is doing MCA from NIT Trichy and is good at DS. He sat for 10, 12 companies but did not get any internship. Should I do internship from outside or start preparing for full-time interviews? So, Abhishek, I think you should do an internship. If you feel you're good in data structures, you will be able to get that job. So don't worry about that, right? So don't worry about that. So Soham is asking, is a master's in CS in US overrated? Depends upon the college that you get into, right? Like if you get into a great college, it's not overrated. If you don't go to a good college, then it will be overrated. So it kind of depends upon a lot of factors. Very hard for me to answer. So Vinash is asking how to implement data structures in problems. Most of the time, you will not have to implement data structures yourself. You will be able to use a library, inbuilt library, and using that you will be able to do it. Okay, using that you will be able to do it. Okay. So first of all, make sure that your basics are strong. You are good in sorting, searching, linked list trees, etc., and then jump into CP. Right. It's not just about knowing data structures. You need to have really good knowledge and great knowledge of applying them. Not just knowing what data structures are. You need to know how to apply them as well. Right. Once you get into competitive programming, you will be like, there'll be all kind of tweaks that you will have to do to everything that you know already. So you need to have an open mind that, hey, this is what I did in use, this is how I use the data structures in that problem. Here I need to tweak it in a way and get into it, right? So that's what you need to do. And generally, I would say just keep a practice of solving 2 to 3 problems a day. That'll be good enough for you to basically do well in competitive programming in general. So somebody just asked that they are in ECE. Does it make sense to do CP? If you want to become a software developer, you need to have a strong profile one way or the other. Either do CP or get a great development profile. You need to do something to ensure that your profile stands out, right? It can be CP, it cannot be, it can be great development projects, but your profile needs to stand out if you are a non-CSIT student and you want to get a job in CSIT. So please do that. Guys, everybody asking about, will the Coding Ninjas competitive programming course help in any kind of it's definitely going to help in all kind of competitions, in all kind of company interviews which basically focus on CP related things. So it's definitely going to help, right? So don't I mean, like, that's something that's going to happen. Devraj is saying, is system design important for 1 year experience to take interviews? Devraj, that's very dependent upon the company. Some companies will ask even freshers about system design. So I think getting the basics of system design is absolutely useful, and you should spend some time doing that. Okay. So Akash, I already answered, can you do competitive programming in Python earlier in this webinar? You can do it. The only thing is there'll be lot more people who will be doing it in C++ Java. So you will not get the kind of support that you might want while you're pursuing competitive programming. Shubham is asking how to get an internship at a startup. So guys, the best way to get an internship at a startup is figure out, like, be really good in some development skill, right? You need to be good in programming. So data structure algorithms is always definitely something that you would need to learn. But after that, you need to learn a development skill as well. So for example, anybody applying for an internship at Coding Ninjas, if they're really good in Ruby on Rails, it's going to be a cakewalk for them to get an internship. But they need to be good in Ruby on Rails. I'll not focus too much on data structure algorithms with interns. I'll just focus on whether they are good in the development skills that we require them to be good in. Okay, so guys, one thing that I wanted to add is, so a bunch of people are asking about Codekaze. So Codekaze is a competition that we are going to have very soon. So would love to, just give me a second. Yeah. So yeah, so Codekaze is an online event which is going to happen on 26th of February and 27th of February. 26th of February there is a mock test, 27th of February there is the real test, right? So there'll be 2 rounds, and you need to so the first round is going to be on 27th of February, and the final round is going to be on 29th of February. Okay, so there'll be aptitude questions, there'll be programming questions, there'll be MCQs. So you need to attempt all of this before you basically get to the final round, right? And once you get to the final round, you need to basically so in the initial round, you need to get a certain percentage of marks to clear that. It's going to be an exciting challenge. A lot of cash prizes as well. I think the total cash prizes are around 60,000 rupees. The winner gets 25,000, and there are a lot of other gadgets and other goodies and swags that a lot of people are going to get, right? So do register for that. It's going to happen on 27th of Feb. 26th there is a mock test as well, so that you guys get an idea what kind of test you should expect. So that'll be a really interesting competition that all of you should take part in. Okay, guys, I think most of the questions are repeating now. I've answered most of these already, right? And Yash is asking any startup tips. I don't know what you mean by that. If you are running a startup, you want any kind of advice from me, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer that, right? In general, I'm telling you, do explore what are the kind of startups you have around you. Can you get an internship there? Can you get a job there? I'm telling you, it's going to be really, really amazing, right? It's going to be really amazing. Okay. Okay, guys, seems like most of the questions are repeating now. So I'm going to sign off now. Yep. Okay. So somebody's asking, क्या Android course आ रहा है CN पर? आ रहा है, बहुत जल्दी आ रहा है. So there is a React course coming and there is a Android course coming really, really soon. Right, so that's going to happen. So Purva is asking how to master web development. The best way to master web development is to do a lot of web development. So learn web development and then work on multiple projects, work on internships, and I'm telling you that's the best way to learn web development. If you build those projects, make those projects live, ensure that you deploy them, ensure that you put them out there, right? Like you use cloud services to launch your project, you will learn a lot, right? You will learn a lot. Jay is asking, with a good team and a good idea, should I start my own startup or apply for an internship and a startup for my learning? So Jay, it's a very hard question for me to answer. It kind of depends upon you. If you feel you're motivated, you want to start your own thing, go ahead and do it, right? Most of the times, the first thing, second thing doesn't really work out. So that's okay. That's a learning that you will have and you will eventually get there. Most of the times, if somebody does not have clarity what they want to do, I tell people that go join a startup, learn for some time, and that'll teach you so much that you will be far better off starting yourself at a later stage. So that's generally what advice I will give to you as well. Okay. Whew. Okay, guys, thank you so much. It was amazing talking to all of you. Great questions, and thank you so much. As I said, any questions, feel free to reach out to me and reach out to our team. And looking forward to seeing you all in Code Kaze. Hopefully, all of you do really well. Thank you. Bye-bye.